Smartsheet can do.
Moments ago, President Trump wrapping up a lengthy, pretty encompassing, in fact, market-moving news conference in London ahead of a packed day of high-stakes meetings with world leaders at the NATO summit.
Let's bring in Lieutenant Colonel Daniel L. Davis, a senior fellow and military expert for defense priorities. I want to pick up on those China comments. Obviously, here in this country and on the Business Network, we're watching those futures. We're down 123 right now because of his comments about the trade deal. But there was also a lot of discussion about our military relationship with the Chinese and, of course, the issue of Hong Kong, which the president has come out in support of those protesters. What do you make of the president's latest comments on China, sir?
Well, I think that he's laid out very firmly what he thinks the United States needs to be doing across the board, because both economically and militarily in the region, where he's wanted to push back on some of the things that China is doing, and also to make clear that he's not going to give in on any of the fronts here. And I think part of it's actually also helping to help his strength on the economic issues by saying we're not going to give in on these issues on the military side as well.
Let's talk about the issue of NATO, because this is one of our oldest alliances, but the president has been very vocal that he is frustrated with the financial relationship between the United States and our role in NATO, in particular the fact that many of these countries are not meeting their targets of 2% annual GDP of funding, in particular the Germans, who say it may not be till 2030. Right. This is a military alliance. This is about protecting not only Europe and the United States, but protecting our interests in the Middle East.
Right, and I think that what you're really seeing here at this 70th anniversary is just a lot of chaos across the board here. And what it's really showing is that the geostrategic conditions that started NATO in 1945 are radically different than they are today. And President Trump is very much right on saying, hey, we need to look at, how our economic and security relationships with NATO are done. Because right now, American taxpayers are spending way too much on European security, and as long as European security is more important to us than to Europe, something's out of balance and it's got to be fixed.
A couple of big things came up, and really from a military and defense perspective, during that 40-minute impromptu news conference he just gave, basically with Jens Stoltenberg. With regards to North Korea, he said, when it comes to the agreement, Kim Jong-un said he would denuclearize. He needs to do that. That was very clear. And then he also got questioned about the Saudis and about our defense, in particular defense spending relationship with the Saudis. Your take on both of those issues, sir?
Yeah, we have to be careful with the North Korea situation, because actually just hours ago they released a statement saying that if we don't engage in more negotiations, we're going to get a Christmas surprise that was something we don't want. And they've been signaling that if we don't continue to move down the path of diplomacy, that things could get dicey in 2020. And that's not going to serve any of us any good if we go back to the days of 2017. So we probably need to put a little bit more diplomatic interest in that. In regards to Saudi Arabia, look, it's great that they're spending more money, but we need to look at, do we need to be giving additional American troops to Saudi Arabia at all? Because we don't have a security relationship with them, and I'm not sure that that's in our interest.
Yeah, a lot of talk about Turkey, those F-35s, a lot of military discussion this morning on the 70th anniversary of NATO. Very good point. Lieutenant Colonel Dan Davis, thank you, sir.
Always my pleasure. Thanks.